So I was 20 years old and I wasn't technically old enough to be there. To be a counselor at this camp, you were supposed to be 21. But the director that year was a friend of mine, a mentor of mine, and she was desperate. She said, look, I have 80 middle school kids coming in less than a week to this camp. One of my counselors just backed out. I need you to come and be a counselor at this camp next week. And I was pretty nervous about that. I'd never done anything like that before. But she said, look, here's the deal. It's going to be great. I'm going to support you. You know, I'm going to give you like the 10 best, most obedient kids in the entire camp to be in your group. It's going to be awesome. You're going to do fine. Well, my friend still denies that she pulled a bait and switch on me that week. But she smiles as she denies it. And I'm not buying it. So handpick 10 kids for me? Yeah, she did that. The most obedient kids in the camp? Not so much. She chose the 10 most stubborn, willful, challenging kids in the entire camp for my group that year. But by the time I realized what she had done, I was having an amazing time and I had caught fire. As I look back on that experience, you know, I recognize that I was doing a lot of the things that I do really well, things I do best, my greatest strengths. I was doing a lot of things I was passionate about, you know, spending time outside in nature, leading activities. I was making an impact in the lives of these kids, and I was doing all of that in the context of a mutually supportive team that worked well together. So at the time, I may not have realized it, but as I look back on this now, I can pretty clearly see that I was living with purpose at this camp. You know, this was an amazing volunteer experience, and it may not have had anything to do with my future career, but there's no doubt that as I was doing this, as I was out there at this camp working with these kids, I was living with purpose, and I felt truly alive. So what does it mean to volunteer with purpose? Many people tend to think of purpose as that one thing they're supposed to do with their life, right? They associate it with that ideal job they want to have. And that can happen, but at Purpose Match, we don't really think that's what purpose is all about. In our view, anytime you use what you're good at and what you love to do to meet an important need in the world, alongside people that bring out the best in you, anytime those four factors come together and collide and intersect, you're living with purpose. Now, of course, we'd love for you to find that great job that allows you to do that every day and get paid for it. But whether or not that's happening for you right now, there are countless opportunities for you to get out there and live with purpose outside of work. And the really cool part is that living purposefully in your extracurricular time, your volunteer life, is also one of the very best paths to getting that awesome, purposeful job down the line. Consider the story of Rebecca. So after drifting through several different majors in college and a few different jobs early in her career, she finally took a job in HR because it paid pretty well, and she didn't really know what else to do. With a young family, she needed that income. But while she didn't have anything against HR, it just never completely clicked for her. It just wasn't quite a fit. And she sometimes found herself wondering if she'd made the right choice. But there was one part of her job that Rebecca loved. So whenever new policies were introduced in the company, she got to teach the company's employees about why those policies were created and about how to implement them. She loved presenting those lessons, you know, creating interesting visual aids, engaging her students in dialogue. She just felt like she was really good at explaining complicated material, and she got excited when a tough concept would click for a student. See, Rebecca was born to teach. And when she finally realized this, she did everything she could to lean into that aspect of her job and to spend as much time on it as possible. What she really wished was that she could go back to school and earn her teaching credential, but she just didn't feel like she could make a clean break from her job and the steady paycheck that came with it. So she started taking online classes, mostly on the weekends, and then she did something really important. She started volunteering as a tutor at her daughter's school a few evenings a week. She found this work extremely fulfilling and found herself growing as an instructor. Now, it took a while, but Rebecca finally did receive her teaching credential, and when she did that, she was able to get a job as an 8th grade English teacher, which she felt like was a perfect fit for her purpose. Now, the school might have had some concerns about hiring a first-year teacher, but all of that volunteer tutoring convinced them. You know, if this person is so passionate about teaching young people that she'll spend thousands of hours as a volunteer tutor, surely she'll make a great classroom teacher as well. Whether the job that you really want just kind of feels out of reach for you right now, or whether you just have extra time outside your job, volunteer opportunities are a great way to live with purpose, to further explore your potential, and to continue to learn and grow. It's really not at all about building a giant resume filled with tons of stuff you don't care about. It's actually kind of the opposite of that. It's about getting involved in maybe one thing that you really do care about, that really clicks for you, that connects with your purpose profile and your deepest sense of who you are. If you get involved now in one or two interesting things that fit that sense of purpose, then you'll build a strong, one-of-a-kind profile that may ultimately help you land that dream job down the line.